Talk to me about becoming a brand ambassador.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because this is
Yeah.
what you're all about, right? I love your Instagram. I
Thanks.
think, if I'm speaking honestly, I'm not so much about the hashtag ads on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Like you tend to scroll by them.
Totally.
But you, and I'm not just saying this, I do stop with you because
Aw.
I think you're very genuine
I appreciate
in the
that.
content you're putting out there, the photos, what you're writing in the captions. Like it's all very positive and I think making an impact in whatever, you're promoting or supporting in terms of different companies and different brands. So like, how did you get into that? Was this something that was kind of like a natural thing or you just kind of grew it and grew it?
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. It was definitely a natural progression into branded partnerships because my career started in television broadcast, and in front of the camera, I just became a personality.
Yeah.
And so with that, this was, I want to say maybe 7 years ago when social media, especially Instagram, started becoming normalized in our lives. For me, I still hated it. I'm like, I don't really want to spend time on these things. Like, what's the point? I didn't see the value in them. Then I went through a major shift in my life, professionally and personally, about 5-6 years ago. And that's when I took to social media to kind of connect with people who were going through similar things, or really just as a visual and verbal diary for myself.
Yeah.
And when I started doing that, I started building a community, and I just started to enjoy putting out content and getting creative in ways that I couldn't on television and with my employers at the time.
Yeah.
And then I guess the brands just paid attention and they cared about the number of followers I had, and that's kind of how it started. But it was never an intention. I dated someone very briefly who was really big on Snapchat at the time. And so near the end of our relationship, he started getting brand deals. And I thought, oh, this is so cool. Like,
Yeah, this is possible.
this is a new world. In the
yeah.
States, maybe it was probably a thing for the past 2 years, but for us in Canada, this was like a big deal. So I was like, oh, this is actually like a business in
Yes,
some way.
Exactly.
But I never thought of it for myself because I was so stuck in the broadcast game. And then so when it started happening with different brands, I thought it was just like, okay, this is a natural extension as to what I've been doing. It's just telling the stories differently through their messaging. But since day one, it's never been like, okay, you're going to come to me and you want to work with me? Yes, let me sign the dotted line. There has to be some kind of alignment with what we're talking about and what we represent.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of the brands that you represent and types of work you do for them.
Yeah, one of my favorite brands, I don't even know if I should call them, but they are a brand, is United Way.
Yes. Okay. I was going to bring this up. So
Yeah,
this is good.
United Way is great. We were introduced 2 Christmases ago, so not this past one, the one before, and it was through their Unignorable campaign, which I thought was really cool. United Way partnered up with Pantone paints to create this very unique color, an unignorable color, which kind of represents all these local issues that we're facing in Canada, especially in the GTA, that we shouldn't ignore.
Yeah.
And so they brought myself and a few other people on board to kind of spread some noise and shine a spotlight on this campaign. And then it just, we worked really well together, and now I'm one of their global brand ambassadors on a voluntary basis. So
Nice.
which is really great. That's near and dear to my heart. Pantene has been one for a very long time now. I've been with them for a couple of years. And I think that brands who have, let's say, the intention to build that relationship long term is one that I really want to build a relationship with, because a lot of campaigns are just one-offs. And in my eyes, well, how can anyone trust what I'm saying if I'm not talking about something consistently?
Right.
So I think having those consistent relationships, like Pantene's trust in me to execute campaigns quarter after quarter for 2 years, speaks volume about what they do and just the faith they have in me. So they're one of my favorite partners.
When you posted the photo of the Unignorable Tower,
Yes,
that was the first time I had seen that. And obviously when you're scrolling through Instagram, that's going to catch your attention, which is the hope. And I was taken aback. I'm like, oh my God. So we're going to put this up on the screen, but tell them what that tall building was representing?
Okay, so United Way worked with Taxi, which is a advertising agency in Toronto, and they're fantastic, to create another campaign that really does shine a spotlight on the 116,000 plus people who are currently living in poverty in the GTA.
Wild.
Over 116,000 people. That's not a number that I think sits well with yourself,
No,
myself, the people who hear about it. And I think they were just thinking, okay, how are we going to represent this number? How are we going to make an impact by doing so? So what they did was they created this building that would represent how many people would actually fit into that building, and that would be the number of people living in poverty to date. And that building, if it were real, would be the biggest in the entire world.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 times the size of the CN Tower, just to kind of put it into perspective.
Insane.
It's insane.
It was so well executed, though,
Yeah.
that campaign, because it is a shocking number of that many people living in poverty just in the GTA.
Yeah.
So hearing the number is shocking, but to really have that visual representation, the way they did that,
It sits with you.
brilliant execution. So that's really cool that you got to be a part of that and
was
sharing
so
that
cool.
message of how we can help and all
Yeah,
that. So
there was this like a AR simulated thing. Technology, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a pro at it, but I mean, there's some really cool stuff that you can create through it.
For sure. So when you're dealing with different brands too, is it kind of like split? Like, do you reach out to them? Do they reach out to you? Is it kind of a mixed bag, or?
It's usually they come to me, and then I have a fantastic management team at Fourth Floor Management
Oh, great.
who works out all the business side of things, and then I take care of the creation, the content creation, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then other times I'll have some great ideas, and I'll put together a pitch, and we'll send it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and not to say that it works out every single time, but it's usually like 60-40 push,
Right.
I'd say.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.